The Philadelphia Flyers have acquired Kevin Hayes for a 5th-round draft pick for the rights to sign him before he hits free agency, has come to an agreement with Hayes on a 7-year contract extension. In today's video, we're going to discuss the details of the contract and to give you my thoughts coming up next. Welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. Now, of course, as I mentioned, we have breaking news out of Philadelphia where the Flyers and Kevin Hayes have come to terms on a long-term contract extension. Obviously, they acquired his signing rights from the Winnipeg Jets for a 5th-round pick and have been negotiating here off and on over the past number of days since the acquisition was made. There was some rumblings that Philadelphia may not be number one on his list of destinations to go to as a free agent. There was links to some other teams. Obviously, after meeting with him several times here and negotiating back and forth, they finally come to terms on a 7-year contract extension worth just a shy of $50 million, $49.99 million, which puts him at an average annual value of $7.142. Personally, I did not expect the Kevin Hayes contract to be this high. I personally suspected he'd be somewhere between $6 and $6.5 million, somewhere around 6 or 7 years. Kevin Hayes is a pretty solid player. When the Flyers acquired him from Winnipeg, I thought it was a good choice. They made a good deal to only give up a 5th-round pick for exclusive signing rights. And I do think he'll be a good fit in Philadelphia, at least for the next few years. I have no doubts about that. As I said in the Philadelphia Flyers offseason video that I made a few weeks ago, I felt they really needed to acquire themselves another solid number 2 center iceman to really improve their center depth. Acquiring a number 2 center would push Nolan Patrick down to the 3rd line, just make the Flyers overall a much deeper team and overall a better team. So I do like Hayes going to the Flyers. I think it makes a lot of sense, but I'm personally not a fan of this contract. I think Chuck Fletcher has overpaid here by a fair bit to keep Kevin Hayes here with the Philadelphia Flyers. Like I mentioned, I thought he was more like a $6 to $6.5 million player. I mean, Kevin Hayes is a pretty solid two-way center. He's 27 years old. He's not the greatest skater. There are many that are concerned over time here as most players regress a little bit, lose a little bit of speed, that he's going to have a hard time keeping up, and I just had concerns about going too long and paying too much to Kevin Hayes. Now, of course, there's still some details of the contract that haven't been made public here as of yet. For example, some of the terms, like is there a no-trade clause? Is there signing bonuses? How is the contract broken down here? We don't really know. We just know what the average annual value is, but based on other comparable contracts, I would think at the very least there is a form of a no-trade clause. More than likely, it could be a modified no-trade for 10, 15 teams. It's hard to say, but I would assure there's probably some form of that in there. There also is likely some of that paid out in the form of a signing bonus as well, and not straight salary for the entire duration of the contract. But we can confirm those details here a little bit later. I guess as far as this year's center ice free agents, comparing him to Brock Nelson, I do think makes a lot of sense for the New York Islanders. He recently just signed here on a 6-year, $6 million per year contract with the Islanders here. I do think they're similar type of players. They're the same age. They've had comparable stats, and they're a similar type of player. So let's take a look here at their career statistics and compare these two players. Look at Kevin Hayes first. He's got 381 NHL games to his resume now. He has one 20-goal season. That was the best he had completed, which was 2 years ago. And then this past year, combined between the Rangers and the Winnipeg Jets, he did put up a career high of 55 points. So he's cracked the 20-goal plateau once, and he's cracked 50 points once, with that coming last season. Now taking a quick look at Brock Nelson, who's also 27 years old. Like I said, he's a similar type of player. For the most part, they both played number 2, number 3 centers since they've been in the NHL. Brock Nelson has 4 20-goal seasons. You could basically almost say he's got 5 because one of those years he had 19. So he's certainly a more proven goal scorer. He also put up a career high of points last year with 53. So as you can see, I think they both kind of progress in their careers similarly, but Brock Nelson's been more of a scorer, and they have similar points. Now, realizing that players develop at different rates and things can change over time here, the fact that Nelson plays a similar type of role for his team and scores more goals, I really didn't think that he would be considered that much less valuable to the Islanders than Kevin Hayes was to the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, maybe you could make the argument that Brock Nelson took a little bit less money to stay with the Islanders to kind of help them build around him, like a hometown discount type of deal, which many players don't do so much anymore. And of course, the Flyers were kind of put themselves in a position where they had to overpay to keep Kevin Hayes, but still to have over $1 million per year difference seems to be a gross overpayment in my opinion on the part of the Flyers. Obviously they've been very active this offseason, which I think is good. They needed to do that. They did need a number 2 center. They did need to make changes to their blue line, which they're doing. They bought out Andrew McDonald. They traded Gudas for Niskanen. They brought in Justin Braun. But as I said in that trade, like, these moves are all kind of well and dandy here on our own, but taking a look at the big picture, not so much. Like, the Justin Braun acquisition isn't terrible, but are they going to end up boxing out some of their younger players because of that? So if they are, I'm not a fan of that. And I know with Alain Vigneault's history here, he sometimes does favor veterans over younger players, at least more recently with the Rangers. So I guess we'll see where this goes. I'm sure the Flyers are not done. They likely will trade another defenseman. They could make some other signings here. So overall, I guess we'll wait to give Chuck Fletcher his report card once we kind of get through more free agency. But this is why they call it the silly season here in the NHL. General managers oftentimes overpay to either acquire or retain key players in their organization, and that's exactly what I feel happened here with the Philadelphia Flyers and Kevin Hayes. So let me know your thoughts on the Kevin Hayes contract here with the Philadelphia Flyers. Do you think the contract is fair, or do you think it's an overpayment? I'll tell you who I think is most happy with his contract, and that's free agent center Matt Duchene. When Matt Duchene saw Kevin Hayes sign for over $7 million, I can see him over there getting all ready for his contract, because if you look at what they're paying Hayes, Duchene's numbers just went up. Many had speculated that the Senators had offered him an 8-year, $8 million contract before the trade deadline to stay, and that many felt that might be the best that he gets heading into free agency, which is why some people felt there would be an opportunity or a possibility that he would return to Ottawa, and if not, another team might have to give him a very comparable deal to sign him in the offseason here. But now that Nelson's making $6 million, you get Hayes at over $7 million. Duchene is significantly better offensively. There's no way that he's getting $8 million now. I'm going to say he's getting at least $9 million, probably $9.5 million, maybe even a little bit closer to 10. I don't think he'll hit 10 million, but I can see him getting over 9, maybe 9.5, now that this is a comparable contract that he and his agent can use for negotiations. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and we'll continue the conversation. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. We cover all NHL teams for all the breaking news. There's going to be all kinds of content coming here in the next few weeks as we have a very busy NHL season ahead. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.